Welcome to the Explainer. Look, if you've ever worked with AWS, you know the feeling. S3, EBS, EFS, which one do you pick? It's a classic point of confusion. So today, we're going to slice right through all that noise and make this choice simple, clear, and super fast.
You know that moment? You're staring at the screen, totally stuck on whether to use S3, EBS, or maybe something else entirely? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. But stick with me, because by the end of this explainer, you're going to have a solid framework to make the right call, every single time. No more guessing.
All right, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll talk about the AWS storage challenge itself. Then, the main event, a showdown between S3 and EBS. After that, we'll bring in the specialists, that's EFS and Instant Store, and we'll wrap it all up with a simple guide so you can pick your champion.
Okay, let's dive right in. The challenge with AWS storage, it isn't that you don't have enough options, it's the opposite. It's about knowing which of these really specialized tools is the perfect one for the job you're trying to do.
And that right there is the key. You got to get this mental model in your head. None of these services are better or worse than the others. They're just different. They're built for different things. And using the wrong one, man, that's like bringing a hammer to a job that needs a screwdriver. It can lead to bad performance, sky-high costs, or even, yikes, losing your data. We're going to make sure that doesn't happen to you.
All right, let's get to our first head-to-head comparison. This is the main event, folks. The two services you are going to run into constantly, Amazon S3 and Amazon EBS. You can really think of these as the foundational pillars of pretty much all AWS storage. So first up in the ring, we've got S3, which stands for Simple Storage Service. And honestly, the name says it all. It's built for one thing, to store and retrieve pretty much any amount of data from anywhere on the planet. Every single thing you put in S3, a photo, a video, a giant backup file, is treated like its own self-contained object, bundled up with all its own metadata.
Now, S3's most famous feature, it's got to be this number, 11 nines of durability. So what on earth does that actually mean in the real world? Well, it means that if you stored, say, 10 million files in S3, you could expect to lose just one of them, maybe every 10,000 years. Yeah, to put it simply, for all practical purposes, your data is basically immortal.
Okay, so in the other corner, we have EBS, the Elastic Block Store. Now, if S3 is that giant, limitless file cabinet, then EBS, well, EBS is the super high-performance hard drive that you plug directly into your EC2 virtual server. It acts just like the C drive on your laptop or the main disk on any server you've ever worked with.
And here's a key difference from S3. EBS is definitely not one size fits all. You actually get to choose your volume type based on what you need. GP3, that's your go-to, your best all-arounder for most things. But what if you're running a heavy-duty database that needs insane speed? That's where IOs comes in, and you'd provision an IO volume for that mission-critical speed. Then on the flip side, you've got ST and SC volumes, which are cheaper options for stuff you don't need to access as often. The whole point is, you only pay for the performance you actually need. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so this slide gets to the absolute core difference between these two. S3 is object storage. It thinks in terms of whole files, pictures, documents that you access over the internet with the URL. EBS, on the other hand, is block storage. It works with the raw, fixed-size chunks of data that actually make up the files, just like a physical hard drive does. And that is why you absolutely need EBS to do things like install an operating system or run a high-speed transactional database. S3 just can't do that. All right, so we've seen the two heavyweights. Now let's bring in the specialists. These next two services solve very specific but really important problems that S3 and EBS just weren't built to handle.
First up, we've got EFS, the Elastic File System. The easiest way to wrap your head around EFS is to think of it like a magical shared network drive, but for the cloud. It lets a whole bunch of different servers, I'm talking servers that might even be in different data centers, all connect to and use the exact same files at the exact same time.
So you might be asking, why would I need that? Well, imagine you have a whole fleet of web servers running a big website, maybe something like WordPress. All of those servers need to get to the same folder of uploaded images, right? EFS is perfect for that. It completely saves you the massive headache of trying to set up and maintain your own network file servers.
It's also a total game changer for what we call lift and shift projects, where you're moving an older application to the cloud that was designed to use a shared network drive.
Okay, next up, let's talk about the absolute speed demon of the AWS storage family, the Instance Store. Now, this isn't a network service like the others. This is storage that is physically bolted onto the same machine that your virtual server is running on. And the result? Just blazing fast performance. We're talking incredibly low latency.
But, and this is a huge but, there is one critical non-negotiable catch that you absolutely have to understand. This storage is ephemeral. That's just a fancy word for temporary. If your server stops, if it terminates, if the hardware it's on has a problem, all the data on that Instance Store is gone. Poof, forever. There is no getting it back. That's why you only use it for things like temporary caches or scratch disks, places where losing the data is no big deal.
All right, we've met all the contenders. We've seen their strengths, their weaknesses. Now, before we put it all together in one final cheat sheet, there's one more special move I want to show you. A feature that can be a real game changer if you're a heavy S3 user.
It's called S3 Transfer Acceleration. And this little feature is designed to solve a super common problem. How do you get big files uploaded quickly when your users are all over the world, far away from where your actual S3 bucket lives?
The way it works is actually pretty brilliant. Instead of having a user in, say, Singapore try to upload a massive file all the way across the public internet to your bucket in Virginia, they upload it to a nearby AWS Edge location right there in Singapore. From that point, the data zips across Amazon's super-fast, private global network, and it lands in your bucket way more quickly and reliably. It's like taking a private jet instead of flying commercial.
Okay, let's pull it all together. This right here, this is your ultimate cheat sheet, your quick glance guide. Use S3 for anything that needs to be super scalable and durable. Think backups, data lakes, website assets. Use EBS when you need that high-performance hard drive for your EC2 apps and databases. You'll reach for EFS when you need a shared file system for a bunch of servers to use at once. And you only, and I mean only, use Instance Store when you need insane speed for temporary data that you are totally okay with losing. Simple as that.
So there you have it. You see, there really is a purpose-built tool for every single storage job in AWS. The next time you're faced with this choice, you're not going to be stuck. You now have the mental framework to look at your project, analyze what it needs, and pick your champion with total confidence. Thanks for watching The Explainer.